Good. Good evening, good evening, good evening. You are locked into another episode of the Red Sea podcast. COVID-19 has been playing absolute havoc with the fixture schedule and the current fixture calendar, seeing multiple postponements across the Football League and the Premier League. Liverpool's Boxing Day clash with Leicester has been cancelled, and we now move on to Leeds in the new year. Leicester versus Liverpool is the latest in the instalment of the Premier League. We preview that match right here, right now, on the Red Sea podcast. We're about to go live. Let's roll that intro.
Tell the world, we are Liverpool, champions of England.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. But Paisley and the Shankly, the fields of our field gold. We are unsupported, and we come from Liverpool.
Yes. We are back on your TV screens, your computer screens, your PC screens, whatever you watch us on. We are back and we are live. It's been a while because you've had all these postponements and Christmas fixture schedule and whatever. But just from us to you, a happy belated, very Merry Christmas from the Red Sea podcast and a Happy New Year from us guys here as well. I'm back with my main man, SS, because Courtney B is struggling to pull her head out the toilet. Thanks very much. But never mind. The show must go on, as they say.
100%. No, it's good, mate. Good to be back. We didn't get to react yet to the other Liverpool-Leicester game, the penalty win, so I'm sure we'll touch on that as well. But yeah, good Christmas all round, some Liverpool gifts and other bits and pieces, and yeah, ready to get going with the festive schedule, which we've been talking about. Games thick and fast coming now. Yeah,
definitely. It does look like the Liverpool games are coming thick and fast, and we're trying to cram these games in. And Jordan Henderson did touch on player welfare, and you know what? Looking at that fixture schedule, I don't think player welfare is at the top of anybody's list. More money, more entertainment, essentially. And some might say that they're incredibly lucky or incredibly fortunate to be pro footballers, but player welfare is still a huge thing that I think doesn't get enough light shed on it. You know, there's multiple different things that they could do to fix the fixture congestion issue, or change the games round or whatever they do. There's multiple things that they could do, but they just seem so reluctant to do so.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with my friend earlier, and I think there's a lot of games that are being postponed because one of the teams can't fulfill the fixtures. So could they be a bit more proactive and think, well, okay, that game was postponed because of Watford, that game was postponed because of Everton. Why don't the other two teams play each other to stop that fixture pile-up coming later on? I think there could be... I get that it's very difficult to suddenly sell that match quickly and get people's travel and stuff like that, But yeah, it's going to be annoying because, we're looking at the African Nations Cup, which I don't want to sort of dwell on too much, but I've kind of worked it out that we're only going to miss the big guys for 2 games. But if we chuck that rearranged Leeds match in there, suddenly it's an extra game without Salah and Mane. So Klopp did touch on it in his press conference that, he might... It's actually not the end of the world as it stands, but yeah, I remember when we had that, potential break last season, and then they chucked an FA Cup replay in there anyway, and then it's not really a break, is it? So
no.
I agree. Even if Klopp was saying about 2 games in 3 days is ridiculous, which would have been Leeds and Leicester, which I agree with. But then you pay for it, like, as you've correctly said, with the pile up. You're going to get a similar scenario at some point in the future anyway.
Yeah, I just think that the League Cup, for me personally, is... I respect the integrity of competition, but I don't feel that the big boys get anything out of it.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because the semi-finals is 4, pretty historical big teams for a change as well.
But it normally is. Realistically, if you look back at history, it normally is. It's either Manchester City have won it how many years on a trot? Do you know what I mean? It's easy pickings for them, and Liverpool haven't really paid much attention to it.
No.
And you know, and Arsenal again haven't really paid much attention to it. They're too busy, you know, soireeing with the FA Cup for however many years they have. You know, so I just personally think that this league, the League Cup competition, could be equally as competitive, could get equal amount of TV time if the smaller teams, I would say, in the league were just competing in it. Why are we seeing Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester City, Manchester United, for an example, the top four sides? Just don't put them in it.
I think it's a good point, because I think the second round of the Carabao Cup, the teams that are in European competition get a bye and they don't come into the third round, or they miss the first and come in at the second. So I think you're kind of right. I think you could probably go one step further and say, do you know what? If you're in European competition, you've got enough games already. You don't need another domestic cup competition.
You don't compete in it. You don't
and
compete in it.
It's one of them, isn't it? If you go out second, third, fourth round, you don't care. But Liverpool haven't won a domestic cup for a long while, so I've actually quite enjoyed it. And that game of Leicester midweek was actually, for all it's worth, was actually quite entertaining in the end.
I'd be like, do you know what? I'd be lying if I said I was remotely interested. I'd be lying if I said I was remotely interested. Even down to the FA Cup, I'd be lying if I said I was remotely interested.
If you get to the business end, I think it becomes a bit like the semi-final clashes, like you say now. You've got Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool, so it looks quite tasty.
Yeah, semi-finals, quarterfinals, semi-finals of the cup competitions. Yeah. Now you're talking. Now you're talking. But the early rounds, where it's just like, oh, come on, man.
It's in the way, doesn't it?
But I appreciate that the bigger sides, when we go to the minnows, the smaller sides, they rely on gate receipts. Yeah. So to some of those sides, this is survival in terms of gate receipts. But let's be respectful to the Aston Villas, the Leicesters, the Leeds, the Newcastles, the West Hams now, the Evertons of this world. They're still big sides with huge followings that people will go to those games. Their followings are no bigger than ours or no smaller than ours to a degree. Do you know what I mean? They've still got a decent fan base there that travel and follow those teams. You will get the same gate receipts if you have those teams there.
Like you say, if you're a Lincoln or a Plymouth or a Macclesfield, if you get Everton, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, West Ham, Newcastle, you're going to want to go, aren't you? And even if you don't go every week to the League 2, League 1 games, and you get a Premier League side. All right, it's great if you get a Liverpool or a Chelsea or a City, yes, but by all means, you're probably going to get their second or even their third string side. If you get a Newcastle or a West Ham or someone with not quite as much squad depth, you're probably likely to see an actual better side, more international players.
Exactly. I'm not being funny. I've been to a number of League Cup games over the years as a Liverpool fan, and I've always seen second string, even third string sides. And I'm not saying that I'm not supporting my team for the basis that we're not, or on the basis that we're not playing all our star players. I go to support my team because I want the team to do well. But at the same time, if you're a rival fan, okay, I'll give you this example. I took my nephew many years ago to go and see Argentina versus Brazil. Argentina versus Portugal at Old Trafford. The one thing that he was focused on as a young lad is I get to see Messi and Ronaldo play live. Like he was focused on it, like all over it.
That's a big tick in the box.
That's a big tick in the box to say that they've seen those players play live. Yeah, no word of a lie. They probably played 20 minutes of football. They came off in the first half.
Oh,
because they had it was an international friendly, but they had an international actual game that meant something the next day in another country. So 2 days later, they played in another country. They were gone. And I think to the same thing with this. I'm not being funny. If you're a top tier player, you're looking at it going I'm playing on a Tuesday or Wednesday in this fixture, but on Sunday or Saturday or Sunday, I got Chelsea. Like, boss, no. I don't want to play against Plymouth because if I get injured against Matty the Butcher, who plays part time because he wants to go and prove a point, I don't get to to play against the big boys and in the games that I feel really matter.
It's quite an interesting point because Liverpool's semi-final of the Carabao Cup is sandwiched actually between the Shrewsbury FA Cup game. So we've got Chelsea on the second. 4 days later, we've got Arsenal in the first leg. Then we've got Shrewsbury, where you would think it would be a complete reserve team, and then we've got Arsenal again. But then 3 days later, we've got Brentford. So
there you go.
It's a very interesting one because naturally you'd go first team rest some, but in this one we've got Chelsea. Then a semi-final, then you're going to rest everyone against Shrewsbury. Then you've got the second leg of the semi-final. Depending on how the first one went, you may need to go quite strong or maybe not so much. And then you've got Brentford 3 days later, who we didn't beat at their place. So
but on the flip side, but on the flip side, because of where Arsenal are in their endeavours and the way that Arsenal's years have been going, this is the real opportunity for them. They're not competing in Europe.
No.
Yeah, so they ain't got a European competition. They're not challenging for a Premier League title.
But they are on the hunt for fourth for the first time in some time.
I understand that, but that's over an extended period of league games.
True.
Yeah, they're in a position, respectively, where they could drop a point or two and probably still qualify in fourth place or get some kind of European football. Whereas we're in the hunt for a league title. We got Manchester City putting 9 wins on the bounce. We can't afford to drop no points anywhere. Yeah. So what's Klopp going to sacrifice?
It's a great question. I mean, it's an interesting one because I look at the team he started against Leicester in the quarterfinal, which was, let's be fair, shit. So we were 2-0 and 3-1 down in about half an hour, and at half time
he knew that.
Yeah,
he knew it was a shit team.
Which for me was an interesting one because if you know it's a shit team, you've clearly gone into that game thinking, I don't really care. But then he's tried to save it at halftime by making 3 subs, which he doesn't normally do. And
the reason why he tried to save
actually saved it.
The reason why he tried to save it is because he knew that Leicester were there for the fucking taking. He was like, do you know what? These lot of shit. Yeah. let me just that's what I can tell you. That is what because you saw it in his demeanor on the touch. And he was like, these lot of shit.
Just put a few players on it.
Let me just put a few players on. We could park these boys off. Yeah. And that way I'm respecting the integrity of the cup and we're through. Come on, man. Let's be fair.
Just about skin of a teeth, but fair play to old Keller. What performance in the shootout.
And
brilliant.
imagine if Leicester were 4-1 up. Yeah. Klopp would have just said, "It's gone, boys. Just keep it respectable. We got bigger fish to fly. Keep it respectable. Do you know what I mean? But it is what it is. Anyway, into the meat and bones that are Leicester and Liverpool in the Premier League. Talk us through the recent head-to-heads because I looked at these and we're absolutely annihilating these on head-to-heads.
We are, mate. We are absolutely flying. I mean, there's only been one real bad mark. I mean, since 2017, I think we've won about 7 of the 10. So it's been a very happy place and a happy fixture for us. The last time we actually went to Leicester, however, we did lose 3-1. That was back in February of this year. That was the infamous Kabak-Alisson collide coming together clash, whatever you want to call it. We were actually 1-0 up in that game, and then it just absolutely went.
We were actually 1-0 up. We were absolutely 1-0 up and cruising, weren't we?
We were
cruising.
And then it was 78, 81, and 85. Madison, Vardy, and Barnes. It just completely
capitulated.
Capitulated. Yeah,
it was a total capitulation.
I've
never actually seen a capitulation like it. It was bad.
It was awful. It was awful. But it was behind closed doors, which same for both teams. But no, I mean, you look at the team that day. Kabak at the back. I think Henderson was playing centre back alongside him. We touched on this in a previous video. If Alisson doesn't trust the defenders in front of him, he's going to try and overcompensate and deal with it. And that's why I think we've seen him. I think he's got the most clean sheets in the league this year because he's had Van Dijk and Matip and Konate in front of him, which is like, you've got this. That's cool. You crack on. Other game in that season, Liverpool at home to Leicester, we won 3-0. That was back in November. We did have Fabinho at centre back alongside Matip. Obviously, Matip then picked up that injury in January, and then Fabinho got injured as well. So.
The less we talk about that, the better.
Yeah, we were still kind of grinding out the results and getting some decent performances back in November before it all completely collapsed. And as you say, we've won, obviously, before that, we won the 2 home and away the season before that, and 3 of the 4 the 2 seasons before that. And obviously, we won the League Cup match about a week ago or so as well. So, yeah, we've definitely had the better of it in terms of Liverpool versus Leicester. Obviously, there was that massive break where Leicester just disappeared from top flight football from 04 to 14. But since their return, it was a bit patchy, but yeah, especially since the last 3 seasons, we've absolutely dominated.
Yeah, I totally agree. And look, that's no disrespect to Leicester. Leicester have become a formidable force in the Premier League and play some sensational football. But at the moment, leading into the first segment of the show, Leicester struggles. You know,
Yeah.
more injuries, more positive COVID cases, more mixed results. It just seems that over the last 3 seasons, at least, certainly under Brendan Rodgers' tenure at Leicester, they just capitulate.
Just bottle jobs FC, aren't they?
It is just for one reason or another. And look, I don't want to speak too soon because obviously we play these guys tomorrow. But for one reason or another, they seem to be going through spells where they're struggling, where they are really struggling.
It's just
what is it? What is it?
It's the defense. It really is. The attack, there's not a lot wrong with the attack. I mean, Jamie Vardy plays every other week, so we completely rested him against Man City. Didn't kick a ball, so guarantee he will start against Liverpool. But, you know, players like Tielemans and Maddison are coming into some good form this season as well. They've rested Ndidi in the last game, so I'd expect him to return. So they've got some decent players going forwards and in the midfield. But
isn't Ndidi injured? Isn't he injured?
Indeed, he was on the bench against City.
Was he?
Didn't feature, but I would imagine him and Vardy probably should return against Liverpool. But it's that defense. I've got a really good friend that's a Leicester fan, and I messaged him and I said, after the League Cup game, I was like, "What's going on? Our second and third string has just beaten you from 3-1 down, and you know you've let in 6. You were 4-0 down against Man City after half an hour. What's happening? You know, I get a Norwich or someone capitulating in that way, but this is." You know, they were the Premier League champions 5 years ago. They were sitting in 4th for pretty much 2 years and didn't finish in 4th. And I look at their defence. Yeah, yes, injuries, yes, COVID. You know, but Albrighton at right back, Amati, Vestergaard, and Thomas. I mean, that's a championship back 4. Vestergaard has had his moments at Southampton, but he's looked pretty dodgy.
I like Vestergaard. I like Vestergaard.
He's okay.
For me, with Vestergaard, I think he needs a strong centre back next to him.
He needs pace to get him out of trouble.
I don't think it's that. He needs discipline. If you put Johnny Evans next to Vestergaard, a very, very different proposition, I feel. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're missing Fofana. I think he's the guy they're missing.
I think so too. But that injury that he got was a nasty injury. Is he going to be the Fofana that he was prior to the injury? You know, the question marks are over Virgil van Dijk when he got injured.
100%.
And the injury that Fofana sustained is worse than Virgil's injury. Yeah.
And they had Justin do the same one, didn't they? Justin was another big player.
Justin, another one. And Virgil van Dijk is an absolute colossus of a centre-back. You know, has Fofana got the same mentality as Virgil van Dijk's got to return after an injury like that? Because we look at what the injury's done to Joe Gomez.
Yeah, 100%. It's not even about an age almost. It is about that mentality, isn't it?
It's the mentality. Right. And you know, and you're out for that long, you're training on your own, you're isolated, especially due to COVID. You're isolated.
Even more so.
It's the mental side of the game. So I personally can't see Leicester without having to spend a bit of money. And you would have thought that, you know, buying Vestergaard, because they brought him in last season, didn't they? In January, wasn't it? January last year, they bought Vestergaard.
I think it was the summer. I think they bought Vestergaard and Bertrand in a double swoop from Southampton.
In the summer, right. So in the summer. So that you would have thought that he's settled and he's in and he would have been producing similar kind of, performances as he was doing in the Southampton shirt, because he was doing some sensational stuff.
Yeah, he was.
But it just doesn't look like he's in the same rich vein of form. So they are struggling defensively. You then look at the injuries.
Yeah,
you know,
big time.
Pereira's injured again.
Yeah, did he? Was that against us?
That was against us.
Was that
Morton?
Broken his leg or something?
Yeah, fracture. A fracture, which is even worse. A fracture is even worse. So there's Pereira injured again. Johnny Evans is constantly injured, not injured.
Yeah, he's had it, isn't he? Yeah, his age, he's just getting injured all the time.
All the time. So, you know, Leicester...
Soyuncu was another one. He's fallen off a cliff with his form.
Soyuncu.
He was brilliant first season they brought him in, and I've not seen him have a good game for about 2 years.
No, but that's the Johnny Evans factor.
Yeah, that's fair.
Look, Johnny Evans, as much as it pains me to say, is a seasoned pro.
Yeah.
He went from Manchester United, was it, to West Brom, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a bit of a drop down.
But
Probably too much too soon.
I wouldn't say so. I think the drop from Manchester United to West Brom was needed because he wasn't able to play consistent games for Manchester United and didn't get the respect that he deserved in the Manchester United team, solely because at that point when he was in the United or in and around the United setup, they had Rio and Vidic.
Yeah.
It was very
Quite
hard very hard to get in there. You know, and he played a role after a while. He came in and he done a job. But the move to West Brom was good. It was a good move for him because he'd done well. From there, he then goes to Leicester and does sensationally well. Has done sensationally well. You know, partnering. Did he play? He played with Maguire, didn't he?
Well,
I think
I'm
he
not sure.
played with Maguire.
I don't know if they passed on the stairs or not.
Did they come? Did they pass on the
Might
way out?
might have done. I
think he played with Maguire. So they had a decent partnership. And at that point, I remember Johnny Evans was being linked with Manchester City.
I mean, he's 34 in about a week, so I think really they need to move on from him now. And you know, you look at Vestergaard; he was meant to come in and, like you said, do better. But yeah, they are, you know, Albrighton, Armati, and Thomas in the back four, and I wonder you're shipping 6 at the Etihad.
But you'd say that they've addressed some of that situation because they've got Fofana. They've got Vestergaard. They've got Soyuncu. Who else?
You say Pereira, Castagna, and Justin.
Justin
are 3 brilliant fullbacks, but 2 of them are injured as well, and it's just very tricky to keep buying new players when you've already got, you know, players in those positions on decent money that have come in for decent fees. And you know, Leicester, yes, they are they're trying to become part of that big 6, aren't they? But they're still a selling club. You know, they've sold Chilwell, they've sold Maguire. You know, they got fantastic money for them, but there's only so long that can work. And every time you sign a replacement, it is a risk. And sometimes they pay off, and sometimes they don't.
But then again, this is where I give credit to Leicester because I think that all of the replacements or the money that they've spent, they've done incredibly well. Fofana is an absolute find.
Yeah. Great signing.
If he gets back to the same level, he's an absolute find. Yeah. Castagna, absolute fine. Left-footed and right-footed. Can play on the left and can play on the right.
Superb.
That's a find. James Justin, brilliant. Absolute find. Can play on the left, can play on the right, can play centre-back, can play defensive midfield. That's an absolute quality find. There is no doubt that their transfer business and their scouting department is the real MVP because they are reinvesting the money correctly. They're reinvesting the money correctly.
They've been so unlucky, haven't they?
They've been so unlucky with injuries. You couldn't write it, and I would almost say that they've been even more unlucky than we have.
Yeah, I mean, that's like you say, it's like decimating. Yes, we had our Van Dijks and our Fabinhos and our Gomez's and our Matips out, but then it would have been you lose Trent and Robertson and Smikas as well. That's basically what's happened to them.
But this is a reoccurring thing. This isn't one season and we're over it. Yes, one season and we're over it.
Yes,
we're not had a reoccurrence of that same kind of injuries. Yes, Harvey Elliott, you know, bless him, has picked up a horrific injury, but he wasn't instrumental in our Premier League winning season. No. You know, he wasn't instrumental in the run up to that. Yes, for some reason he managed to scoop a Premier League medal, but he wasn't instrumental in that win or in that Champions League win. No. If we was to lose, it would be like us losing Virgil van Dijk to the same injury again this season. Yeah, that would be catastrophic. It would be like us losing Matip again to the same injury. That would be catastrophic.
Yeah, no, it would be. I do have sympathy for them, definitely, because if you pick a Leicester 11, no injuries, no COVID, that's a team, and
all of those boys that we're talking about are in there.
They're all in there, and you know, weirdly, it's a miles better team than the team that won the league with Leicester in terms of, you know, the year and the direct comparisons. It's a fantastic team. You know, other than Kasper Schmeichel, the whole team's pretty much changed from that league winning season. But you know, Hoof and Morgan, you know, Fofana and, you know, Evans or Soyuncu, or maybe a back 5, Castagna, Pereira, Justin.
Perspective on this though, because I like the comparison that you've made. Yeah. But that Leicester team that won the league, they caught everybody cold with a style of football.
Very true.
That's what
Which
it was.
they do actually still play.
To a degree,
To a
yes.
degree.
But it's adapted. It's more build-up play.
More ticky in there, isn't there?
Yeah, they can use that style of football when needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. When a team wants to press, yes.
Yeah.
Get the ball into midfield, pump it over the top, and let Vardy run onto it.
Yeah.
You know, or let Daka chase it, or you know, let one of those guys chase after the ball, of course. But now there's more building up through the thirds. Back then, it was literally like, give the ball to Drinkwater, get it forward, and everybody just get numbers in the half and let Vardy go to work. And I genuinely do not know how it took the whole Premier League season for teams. I remember talking to my brother about this, and we said this. We're like, how has it taken the whole season for any of these teams to clock the most basic way of playing football? Why has no one clocked this? How has no one been able to nullify this? Because it wasn't sexy football. It was literally get it in the middle of the park and pump it forward. That's what it was.
It's a great point, because there's a lot of these teams that have these second season syndromes, isn't there? You know, you've got Sheffield United, Leeds, that they have at one style that takes everybody by surprise. Even though you watch them against everybody, until you physically played them, it doesn't seem that you can stop it. And then you're like, oh, that's what they do. So I totally agree with you. And I think, you know, you chuck a Mahrez in there to a bit of magic when it's
flavor,
when it's a bit stale. And if it goes wrong, you've got N'Golo Kante covering 70% of the earth.
Yeah.
You know, it was with those three playing out of their skin for 38 matches and Hoof and Morgan literally hoofing it every time it comes anywhere near him. It seemed to work, and you know, it was the perfect storm, wasn't it? Because you know, their two main title rivals that season were Arsenal and Spurs. So where were Chelsea? Where were City? Where were Liverpool? Where were United? It was a perfect storm.
Just stinking the whole Premier League out.
Yeah, it was perfect.
And this is the thing, you know, question marks are on Arsenal really, because they were killing it that year.
Even Spurs, third in a 2-horse race, weren't they?
This is what I'm saying. But Arsenal, but you look at Arsenal and the underachievement of that Arsenal team has gone under the radar. They super underachieved. What, Alexis Sanchez and Mesut Ozil in your team, and Alexis Sanchez was probably the best he'd ever been. Yeah,
quality
at one point. You've not managed to win the league. No wonder Wenger lost his job 2 seasons after. But we move. We do. So this is the thing. We're talking about these players, but where does Leicester's threat? Where is their threat? Where is their intent from? Because I'm racking my brains, and Vardy isn't the same Jamie Vardy. Yes, he's a threat, but I don't think he possesses anything that Matip, Virgil van Dijk, or Konate. Not so much Gomez, because Gomez is in all sorts of trouble at the moment. Only because I think he's lacking match fitness and game awareness because of lack of games that he's played. Not because I don't think that he's a top class centre back. I still think that's in there. I just think he's been starved of games. But that's only because we didn't expect Matip to string 2 freaking games together. But we move. Maddison and Iheanacho, and to a degree Tielemans and Daka. I don't look at those names and think about their recent performances and go, yeah, they can trouble our back four.
It depends how Leicester approach the game, because they've got so many, like you say, so many injuries. Who's going to be available? Are they going to play a back 5 at home potentially? You know,
they'll get parked off in the same way.
It's a tricky one, because they went 4-4-1-1 away to Man City. You know, and it completely and utterly failed until he made some changes. He had to take off. You know, he had Perez, Lookman, Maddison, and Iheanacho. That's very attackive against a team like Man City, and they got pulled to pieces. You know, even Albrighton was at right back, who's an attacking player. So I think that Rodgers will probably take his medicine a little bit from the start and go a little bit more defensive and look for that out ball to Vardy, who had the night off against Man City. So I still see Vardy as their main threat. And he did get a couple of goals against Liverpool in the cup, but that was against, you know, Billy Cometio. You know, like you've just said, how do you counter Vardy's pace? You put Van Dijk on him, and he doesn't really touch the ball. So they're going to need Maddison and Tielemans to have the best games. I think Tielemans has a good season. I think Maddison is very inconsistent, can be brilliant, can be completely missing. So if Vardy, Maddison, and Tielemans all play to the best of their ability and all link up together, there could be a goal if those 2 or 3 do a move together, because they countered quite well against Man City at 3-4-0 down. They scored 3 goals. They got 3 goals back, all on the counter attack when Man City took their eye off the ball. They felt the game was won.
And
they were
that's
playing
the thing.
High line, which we do as well.
And that's the thing. I think that the only way to get any change out of this game for Leicester is try and take it to us.
Yeah.
If you want to, like, almost Brendan Rodgers 2014 style. Yeah. do you know what I mean? That kind of full throttle, all out attack football. I feel that's the only way they get anything from us, because if they sit and try and be pragmatic with their approach,
we'll just have the ball for 90 minutes.
We'll have the ball for 90 minutes. We'll pick them off.
Yeah.
You know, if Thiago's back, Thiago starts pulling strings and starts dictating and starts making you play chase the ball. You'll end up chasing the ball, because that's one area where I feel where our game has developed massively. The ability to keep the ball now for prolonged periods of time.
Yeah.
We weren't able to do that before. It was that, like you said, that kind of rock and roll, heavy metal that we associated with
basketball, wasn't it? If we score, now you attack. Now we attack, now you attack.
It was a case of, right, get forward. We'd have the ball nicked off us. We'd run it down. We'd win it back. We'd go at them again. We'll have it nicked off us again. We'd run it down. We'd win it back. We'd go. Whereas now, we don't get the ball. We don't lose the ball.
Yeah.
We don't lose it. We keep hold of it. But that's where the Thiago element comes in. We're able to keep the ball for prolonged periods of time, which wears down any opposition, whether it's through lack of legs and you're tired, or whether it's through mental engagement, because chasing a ball for 60, 70 minutes is boring as hell and it's tiring.
I mean, my prediction would be, and if I was the Leicester manager, I would actually controversially approach this a little bit like Gareth Southgate did in the Euros. I would start quite defensively, quite compact, to deal with that initial onrush of Liverpool, having the ball, having possession, closing them down, have the disciplined players on the pitch. And then when Liverpool, you get to the hour mark, then you bring on your Maddisons and your Vardys and your Tielemans and your Harvey Barnes to have a go later on in the game, because I don't feel that they're going to be disciplined enough. And you don't want to burn them out just chasing shadows for 60 minutes. You want to bring them on with half an hour to go. Try and stay in that game. Try and keep it to 1-0, tops 2-0. And then go, do you know what? Here's Maddison, here's Vardy, here's Daka, whoever it might be. Let's get the legs on. Let's get the pace in. And now we hit them long.
But again, with Liverpool, that plays into our hands, because if you do that and we cut that ball out, Pep Guardiola said it himself. We can't attack like Liverpool. We can't attack fast enough. The way that we spring counter-attacks, it is unreal. We get the ball from back to front on a counter-attack unbelievably quick. Yeah. And it's not necessarily through a long ball. The ball's going across the ground. You're talking 3 passes and you're in behind.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous.
Even Van Dijk just to do one of those diagonal ones.
But even without the diagonal, from ball to feet, 3 passes and we're in behind. I've watched it happen. It's unreal. Yeah. How we do it is mind-boggling. So if Leicester want to attack and they're trying to put 3, 4, 5 people into an attack, and we go, okay, no problem, go 5v3 against Van Dijk, Matip, and Robertson, or go 5v3 against Van Dijk, Matip, and Fabinho. Go and do it, because guess what? If we win that ball, respectfully, you're fucked, because it's going out. It's going out wide, and it's going into one person's feet, and that's Mo Salah's, and you're going to get torn apart.
You're in big trouble.
You're in big trouble because then the overload happens. So I back us in every way in this game.
There's no winning formula in games like this. Sometimes you just have to say, do you know what? If Liverpool turn up, we're in big trouble.
Yeah, it's so he almost has to throw caution to the wind, because
which I think he did against City in a similar situation. I think he just thought, do you know what? If we try and defend, we lose. We might as well go for it.
Yeah, he just thought fuck it. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. He just thought to hell with this shit. I'm gonna go down or I'm gonna die on my sword.
And then and then at 4-0 after half an hour, he thought, I might change it slightly.
But even those changes though were still attacking changes.
Yeah, no, they were slightly different.
And he got back into the game. He just brought on some different qualities, and it was the change was vindicated because if they carried on in the same way, they were on the end of a 9-0 pumping. Yeah,
easily.
Or they were on the end of a 9. Yeah.
I just don't get why he's so against playing Vardy and Iheanacho together, because they had a lot of success of that last season, them two up top together, and they never seem to play at the same time anymore.
Because Iheanacho's lazy. Iheanacho is like lazy. Lazy. It looks lazy, but it's just his style of football.
But he gets goals.
But again, if you play Vardy, who's going to go long, Iheanacho has to come short. And that's not any Iheanacho's game. He can't come short. He can't hold the ball up. He's not that kind of player. Yeah. No. With Iheanacho, you play people around him or in and around him to link up with him and combined to then get him in behind. Vardy can't really do that. It's kind of Vardy's way or no way, and there's a bit of a disconnect in that way. I can see they've had success, but it is a little bit of a disconnect. I would like to see them go with a 3 up top. Why not play Vardy out in a wider position, Iheanacho through the middle, and Daka on the other side of him?
Yeah, quite easily. I mean, I would if I was Rodgers, I would be going 5-3-2. I'd have, Castagna and Thomas. I'd have Vardy and Iheanacho, and then I'd get a Tielemans, Maddison, and Ndidi midfield.
Yeah,
that's how I'd go. But I agree. Like you say, whatever he does,
damned if he doesn't, damned if he doesn't. Really,
it's like for anyone that saves Scum's Football Manager, you'll play a formation and a tactic against the top team, you get battered 8-0. So you try something else, you lose 6-0. You try something else, you lose 4-0. You think no matter what I do with this group of players in any shape or any style, they have a better team than we do, and they're going to win 99 times out of 100. We're going to lose that game.
Yeah, 100%. But again, could be famous last words because this is the Premier League and anything can happen.
Yeah, Red Sea full time tomorrow, live guys.
Yeah, get ready for a Thiago meltdown. From a Liverpool perspective,
forgot it's a Liverpool show, isn't it?
Will we lose, or have we lost some momentum here, or is there the possibility that we've lost some momentum? We think about the Boxing Day clash being off against Leeds.
Yeah.
You're seeing what momentum is doing for Manchester City, and they are the masters of it. Yeah, they are the masters of it. They go win. They get into their stride, and it is literally win. Simple as that. They could, and this isn't being disrespectful to any other teams in the league, even disrespectful to Liverpool. Manchester City could go the whole season now and not lose a game.
I agree.
Not lose. Not lose. Yeah. And not fucking draw either. They could go the whole season. They could go the rest of the season and win every game. They are capable. They are more than capable. Because, what's stopping them sneaking a little cheeky 1-0 against us?
Nothing really.
Or sneaking a little 2-1 against us. There's nothing stopping them doing that. No. And realistically, when you're looking at the rest of the league, we currently pose the only threat to them. Chelsea are toilet right now. But not interested. The 3-1 little win, I'm not interested. It showed that game showed frailties. They struggled to break
2 penalties.
2 pens. And they struggled to break that team down. They struggled to break them down. Yeah. There's nothing stopping Manchester City right now, apart from us. We're the only team in the league that can stop them.
We've really only ever been the only style that stops them beating everybody as well. We've been their kryptonite, let's be fair, for 4 or 5 years, if that's in Europe or in the Premier League. We're the only team that's posed any real threat to them.
It goes further back than
domestic titles, isn't it?
It goes further back than that. The reason why it goes further back than that is because we're not necessarily their kryptonite. Klopp is Pep's kryptonite.
Yeah, that's very true.
Klopp is Pep's kryptonite. He's the only manager that has got his card. He's the only manager that knows how to cause that man torment. And we're talking across Dortmund and Bayern. Yeah. He's just caused that man sheer torture in
Yeah.
every aspect.
I mean, it's the only tactic that seems to really stop Man City from winning everything or Pep from winning everything. You know, the tiki-taka that he's so famous for wipes teams aside, and it's only really Klopp's, you know, at the beginning, full gegenpress, and now a mixture of gegenpress and possession-based football that really poses a challenge to Man City. And, you know, I think Liverpool City, they could play every day for a week. You'd have 3 wins each and a draw. You know, they're that closely matched, and it all depends on how that game goes. But yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it, to call, because Man City could easily.
This is a great comment. This is a great comment. This is a great comment because this is so accurate. Sorry to cut you. This is so accurate.
Yeah, Kagla Lovren, Dejan Soyuncu.
Yeah, 100%.
No, it's true, but I think like you say, with Liverpool's momentum, we would have played 9 days ago in the Premier League against Spurs with a 2-2 draw. You know, the last time Van Dijk and Fabinho played was, I think, the 3-1 win against Newcastle on the 16th. So that's, you know, a good 10, 11, 12 days ago by the time this game's played. So momentum for me it can be a good thing, but every time Liverpool seem to come back from any little rest and they get all the big boys back, they seem to deliver. So I'm feeling a good result. And I wanted to bring up the last time we went to them around the Christmas period, which I think you went to just after the World Club Championship. We parked them 4-0. So I'm feeling a very similar result, which we'll get onto at the end of the show. But, you know, with the likes of Van Dijk back, Fabinho back, Leicester leakier than a rusty colander at the back, and Liverpool's players back in, you know, back available. You've mentioned Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson, Van Dijk. You know, they're all back. They're all available again. Bobby's now back in the front three as well. If he can get in there, there's good options and rotation from that 4 into the 3. So yeah, I'm feeling momentum. Yes, we have lost a bit because, like you say, there's been games cancelled. Some of the key players have been missing. You know, we had a cup game where not many of them played in that one as well. And, you know, we're going to lose Mane and Salah pretty quickly after the Chelsea game. So momentum, yes, it's important. I get City are in good form because they've got, you know, 12 players trying to fit into 6 positions. So it's always a challenge in-house. But Liverpool is slightly different. We definitely have an 11, a 12, a 13. I don't think everybody will return. We mentioned that midfield 3. They've all been out. I don't know if they all come back in together. There might be a Keita or an Ox in there as well. But yeah, I would expect us to do pretty well tomorrow night.
Like you said, I don't see all of those going straight back into that midfield, especially with Chelsea on the weekend. I think we see rotation, and this brings us nicely onto expected lineup.
It does.
Because I feel that we'll see rotation in those positions with Chelsea in mind, and then all those big guns come back in against Chelsea because Chelsea have got frailties. Kante's injured again.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's injured again. Kante's injured again. Thiago Silva's injured as well. So
big misses.
Chilwell
as well. Is he still out?
I believe so. I don't know. Look, these Chelsea fans get a little bit irate when you start getting onto their team. You know, I was in a Twitter debate with Monster earlier on, and they don't.
I want to get Monster on.
No, I don't, to be honest, because I don't want to get any Chelsea fans on here if I'm being
Chelsea
being honest. And that's no disrespect to Monster because he's a top guy, but I don't want to hear this big 4-4 no safety talk and all of this bollocks because they were talking all that crud in the summer, and now look at the state of affairs going on at Stamford Bridge. They're shit. Let's be honest. Yeah, and I don't hate Chelsea much, but let's be fair. I just think we go strong against Chelsea and just park them off. I do. I think we park Chelsea. I think we sweep them aside. If we go with our strongest team, providing we can make it through this Leicester fixture with no further injuries, no more COVID cases, no nothing, and we go into that Chelsea game with a fully fit squad, minus the Harvey Elliott injury, the team that team picks itself. Yeah. Mane, Firmino, Salah. Respect to Jota. I respect Jota.
Big shout.
I respect Jota, but do you know what? I prefer Jota off the bench.
He's second top goal scorer. Top goal scorer if you don't count Salah in the league.
That's what I'm saying. But I prefer him off the bench because he's just a terrorist. Like, he's just a terrorist. Like, and I just think to myself, why would you like? Imagine you've just played 50 minutes or 60 minutes against Mane, Firmino, and Salah. And then at 60 minutes, you just see this little Portuguese guy getting warmed up, just ready to run at you for the just a terrier. Like he look like he just gives me Suarez vibes.
Yeah, do you know what? I actually think it's a little bit harsh to call him an off the bench impact player now, based on the form he's been in this season.
He's not. Look, again, respectfully he's not that. He's so much more than that.
Yeah.
But I know if I was a centre back, yeah, and I see, I'm gonna look at my manager and go, "Are you taking the fucking piss? Are you taking the fucking piss? You want me to run against that? No. Take me off now." do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, Robertson's going to be missing for both. He's suspended.
Yeah.
Alisson plays. Trent plays both. I think Matip and Van Dijk quite capable of playing both. He might put a Konate in against Leicester, but he's played Matip and Van Dijk a lot this season, sometimes twice in a week before.
I think Konate plays against Chelsea. And the reason why I think Konate plays against Chelsea, the reason being is the physical battle with Lukaku. I think Konate bodies Lukaku. I think he bodies him.
That's a great shout, to be fair.
Bodies him. Because Lukaku's going to get brave and think, I know I'm going to try and play up against Virgil van Dijk.
Because he did nothing at Anfield, did he?
He got pocketed. He got pocketed. Virgil was like, listen, get in here. Hold on, just get inside here, yeah, and don't leave. But I think Konate would play against Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, they're that good. I wouldn't mind which way or who plays alongside Van Dijk out of those two. I think the midfield is the interesting one because, like you say, Van Dijk will come in regardless for both games because he is Van Dijk. But I don't think Fabinho, Thiago, and Henderson. I think they'll all feature against Leicester. I don't think they'll all start. I think they'll all start against Chelsea.
Yes.
And for me, Firmino needs to work his way back in this team. And I think Firmino's fantastic. But for me, Jota is probably the most informed striker in the league right now. So,
100%. Like, this isn't a
not drop him
disrespect.
at all.
This isn't a disrespect or a slur to Jota because Jota is like. Let's cast our minds back. Yeah, Liverpool, Werner, the whole love affair. Yeah, that went on for a whole transfer window. And then we got Jota. And I don't care what anybody says, there is no Liverpool fan in this country that didn't view that as a massive anti-climax and weren't like, FSG have struck again. Yeah, they've wooed us, they've wined us, they've dined us, they've done it, we've done everything, and now we're signing Jota. Are you serious?
I was the one. I was happy, mate. I've said it multiple times.
Shut up, man.
Multiple times. I think Jota at Wolves, he was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
No. He was decent. He was brilliant.
He was
decent, but he wasn't. He was just a terrorist. But he was just a total terrorist. But he didn't get the same goal contributions that he's getting now. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is my point to you, okay? Because you say Traore at Wolves, yep, he's got everything but the end goal. And Klopp will give him that extra bit. Disagree. Jota had the goals and assists at Wolves and then did more with it and increased his numbers under Klopp. Traore's not going to go from zero to being brilliant. Jota went from being very good to exceptional.
Jota went from very good is a bit of a reach. Jota went from being it's a bit of a reach. Jota went from being Mr. Consistent, yeah, to being very good. Yeah. Now, personally, I believe that at the moment, Firmino in these big games, how do you play against that? How do you play against a player as a centre back that wants to drop in? Yeah, like if he goes to drop in, you know what's going to happen? Rudiger's going to go, I'll go with him because I'm Rudiger and I want to try and tackle everything. And then the space gets cut in behind. The space opens up behind. With Jota's a very different type of player. He's just going to run at you. I
want that because they're going to play a back 5. They're going to play 3 centre backs, and Firmino dropping into midfield is one less player against 3. I want Jota right against them. I want Mane cutting in. I want Salah cutting in.
Yeah.
I want to put them under pressure.
I hear what you're saying, but if you look at the way that Chelsea play, Rudiger's like a fucking magpie. Yeah. He gets so attractive to the ball. He has no defensive discipline. He has no defensive discipline, and that's why he has to play in a back 3, because he doesn't have the discipline. So if you're Firmino, you're gonna draw those players with you. He's gonna play up against him and then drop in, and Rudy's gonna go, fuck, I better go with him. He's gonna follow him, and all that's gonna happen is Firmino's gonna go, ha ha, 1-2, ball in behind. We're in every time. So, but then I think once you've ripped them to shreds for 60 minutes with those kind of intelligent runs, you then see Jota warming up. You're going to go, do not fuck it.
Mate, I'm here for front 4. I'm here for it against both these teams.
100%. Front 4 would be unreal. That would be unreal, because all you do is you put Thiago and Fabinho.
Yep, and Hendo can come in after an hour.
Almost in like that double pivot, almost in like a double pivot. Yeah, you put them there, and you just say to the front 4, go and do damage, because whatever they do, whatever Chelsea do, we're going to nullify it anyway, because Trent can come in to almost make it a 3 in the midfield when he steps inside.
Very true.
Then the only person a front 4 could potentially nullify would be Robbo or Tsimikas, because that doesn't allow Tsimikas to get as forward, and Tsimikas doesn't have the defensive discipline that maybe a Robbo has. So it's horses for courses. How do you want to cut through them? How do you want to cut through them?
Absolutely, it's good options there, isn't it? I mean, like you say, is that if we start 4-3-3 and we need a goal, you've got that option of a 4-2-3-1, which I would like to see us do a little bit more, be a bit more flexible with our formation, because it is 4-3-3 constantly. I would like to. We have seen the front 4 at times, but I just think Jota's undroppable. I think if you were going to play one against one and one against the other, I would actually play Firmino against Leicester and Jota against Chelsea. But for me, Jota is undroppable. He plays against both, starts against both. And if you need Firmino to come in the front 4, or if Jota's having a bad game, then fair enough. But for me, Diogo Jota, I would not swap for any striker in the league at the minute, and possibly the world if you discount Erling Haaland.
It's a very difficult one, because I don't think now we're if we were talking about a season ago, 2 seasons ago, you would say that, he's getting dropped. He's getting dropped because we never saw this level. Yeah, we never saw this level of rotation in the Liverpool squad. We've never seen this. This is uncharted waters for us, because Klopp would never rotate to this effect ever before. So. I think that all the players have now bought into this. Yeah, I don't think that we're in a position where any one of them would be disappointed to miss out on any one of those games, because they know that their next game is coming.
True, but I think Jota would feel pretty hard done by, because he's come on against Leicester as a sub in the cup, saved the game. Let's be fair, he scored the winning penalty. He's got a goal in that game. Didn't play 90 minutes. He's now had a week off as well. There's no reason he needs to be rested in this game. All right, he plays an hour against Leicester, saving for Chelsea, fine. But dropping him from the start, I think, is incredibly harsh. And I think he would feel a bit hard done by from that.
I don't think the modern professional or in the era of the game that we're in now, they feel hard done by, because if you look at Manchester City, you could never really predict that lineup.
No, then you lose Leroy Sané and Ferran Torres because they've had enough of it.
No, I think Leroy Sané was a player that wanted to go back to Germany. For German players, the pinnacle is Bayern Munich. The pinnacle, that's the pinnacle. If Bayern Munich come for you as a German player, you go and play for Bayern Munich. Yeah. With Ferran Torres, he needs to. You can't go to Manchester City as a young player and think, I'm going to tear it up straight away and I'm going to just be in that squad. Look how long Phil Foden had to wait, and he was doing a lot more than Ferran Torres has ever done.
I mean, I think Ferran Torres started pretty well this season. He was getting goals,
he's done decent.
And then he just dropped him, and he just couldn't get a game. And that's the thing. I just think you need to reward form. Courtney's mentioned it before. Yes, she's a massive Firmino fan, but for me, Jota, second top goal scorer in the league. Yes, if the game is won against Leicester after an hour, let's get him off, put Bobby on, and then we decide what we want to do with Chelsea. But For me,
But
you can't drop Jota at the minute.
But what does Bobby? You got to look at their qualities.
Yeah.
And this is where at the elite level of the game, players understand that their qualities are better suited up against other players. And I feel this should be a theme throughout football in general, is that you look at the opposition that you're playing against and you match the qualities that you've got in your squad against your opponent.
Yeah,
that's going to give you the best result. And again, I'm not Jurgen Klopp, and I'm nowhere near at that level in terms of my football knowledge or my footballing philosophy or whatever not. But I look at that Leicester team, and I think that Jota is made for that.
Yeah, could not agree more.
Made for it, because he, like I said, he will terrorize that back four because he just doesn't stop running. He doesn't stop running. Firmino, on the other hand, is a more intelligent player. He's more intelligent. Yeah. He's going to pick up spaces on that pitch. He's going to take defenders to places where they do not want to go. Yeah. You know what you're getting with Jota. Get the ball, turn, run at you. You know what you're getting with Jota. With Firmino, you don't know what you're getting. He's an unknown quantity. He's a player that everyone gives stick for being a defensive striker. He's not a defensive striker. He is a number 10. He's a number 10 playing in a number 9's position.
Yeah.
That is dangerous, because what it allows the other two to do is come more narrow and occupy that back three. And do those guys want to be playing up against Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane when they're having one of their games? No. They don't want to do that. Whereas if Jota's running through the middle, it doesn't allow Salah to come in. It doesn't allow Mane to come in. Did you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it vacates spaces. So I personally go with Jota if we're talking Chelsea, I go with Firmino to start, and then I bring Jota on just to finish them off, just to put the final nail in the coffin, because they won't want that. They won't want it.
Fair enough.
Right. Just a little bit of a taster, really.
Because,
just a little taster, just to get your taste buds going. So I don't know if anybody knew that it's January next month, and in January something happens in the football calendar where a little thing called the transfer window opens up, and me and my man SS, we get very excited about the transfer window, because my Twitter inbox starts to go a little bit mental with rumors and all of the speculation. And guys, let's be very clear, I'm not a transfer guru, yeah, but I do like a little bit of a gossip with a few people every now and again about what's going on in the transfer window. And I really wanted to kick things off as we approach the January transfer window, and just throw out to you guys here, the viewers, the guys in the comments, where do Liverpool need to strengthen in this January transfer window? Because you think we've got the COVID issue at the moment that's affecting the squad. We've got the African Cup of Nations, which is affecting the issue, which is going to affect the squad. The rumours are already starting to swell. The Danjuma rumours starting to swell. Yeah, that Liverpool are interested in him. The lad at Leipzig, that's starting to gather pace. Where do we need to strengthen in the January window for us to continue the momentum and have a successful campaign and finish this year with a Premier League trophy or a Champions League trophy? SS, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've looked at the African Nations Cup, and realistically, we should only lose them for Palace and Brentford, the main two guys. So it's not the end of the world. You don't have to bring in a £90 million winger for a couple of the games. But midfield, we are stacked really when everybody returns from injuries and stuff like that. You've got Jones coming back now. He's recovered from COVID, and he had an eye issue before that. Elliott will be back in the team March, April, May time, and again probably be very heavily involved in the next 2022-23 season. So where is it that we need to improve? For me, we've always referred to the bench, probably could be improved, could be a bit more consistent. And yeah, Minamino and Origi definitely do contribute here and there, but
whoa. Did I hear you just say that Minamino contributes?
He
This
did,
is
didn't he?
the
In the League
this is
Cup,
a
he did.
momentous occasion.
Maybe one
Yes!
one in 30 games, he might contribute a goal or an assist. But
You always have
you
to
know,
take the shine off it, don't you?
but no, I just think a little bit more strength in depth because let's be fair, Liverpool's 11. If you put Liverpool's best 11 up against anyone else and you do a comparison, a combined 11, we dominate pretty much every single one of them. There's Van Dijk, Trent, Robertson, Alisson, Mane, Salah, Fabinho. Nobody gets in ahead of them in their positions anywhere in the world, in my opinion. I know that's my opinion, and that's not always gospel, but I wouldn't replace any of those. So for me, it's the other bit. We need. Have we got a better option? Do we need a fifth option in that front four? Because if we get one injury to one of those four we've been talking about, the three have to pick itself, whether that's form, whether that's a knock, whether that's tiredness, whether that's unavailability for COVID. Suddenly you're playing Minamino in the front three, you're playing Chamberlain in the front three, you're playing Origi through the middle in a big game. So I think we could definitely improve there without having to break the bank. I think there's definitely good options in there. And we've mentioned St. Maximan, Traore, Rafinha. He's been linked with a move to Bayern recently. So somebody among that kind of level for me would where I'd be starting to look, because other than that, I think we're all right. I think a right backup would be good as well, really, because if Trent gets injured, we're screwed. Let's be fair for the rest of this. Say he was out for the season tomorrow. What do? That stops us winning the league. So a decent backup right back, another front player, I think we'd be all right till the summer with that.
Right. So just to whet the appetite, the current links are they all seem to be with wide players. Yeah.
Yeah.
Danjuma.
Yeah.
Rafinha. Fabian Ruiz. Jared Bowen.
Oh God, not again.
No, look. Okay, look. Let's just take a moment to get into this, yeah, with the Jared Bowen thing, yeah, because no, seriously, as like I understand, and I understand why we go, oh, Jared Bowen, oh. But he is no less effective in terms of what he does for West Ham, yeah, to what Rafinha is doing for Leeds. He's no less effective. Yeah. If you look at them player for player, yeah, he is no less effective in what he's doing at his current club, because we can only base it on their current club, to what Rafinha is doing for Leeds. They are both equally as important. The difference is Rafinha sounds sexy because he's Brazilian. Yeah. Gerard Bowen just sounds a bit like, oh, do you know what I mean? It seems very anticlimactic. So I get it. I understand it. But I wouldn't be super excited to see him walk through the door at Liverpool. But I would understand why we would make that transfer. The profile fits. So we can't ignore the fact the profile fits. The name and what it potentially represents, you think, oh, we should be doing better. Do you know what I mean? But the profile of player fits. So I can understand why the link is there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think it depends on the team. I don't think, West Ham, yes, they've not had a great last couple of weeks, but they have had some big results against Chelsea, against us, and they are still flying pretty high. So I don't see them moving anybody out, especially in January. But the teams down the bottom have got a stick or twist at some point. Leeds are in free fall. Do they sell 50 million Rafinha and buy some centre backs and stop shipping 6 goals every week? Potentially could be a good idea. Alan Saint-Maximan's got a goal for Newcastle tonight. I think they might have got a draw against United. I haven't checked for the last few minutes.
I think they lost it. I think Cavani broke their hearts tonight.
I didn't lose in the last minute, did they? I thought they might have got a draw.
No, sorry. They got a draw. Yeah, 1-0.
Yeah.
1-0. Cavani come on and
equalised.
Salvaged it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for me, St. Maximan, Rafinha, players in the bottom half, maybe even the bottom 5. Yeah, Wilfried Zaha's another one. I quite like him as well. But for me, you need someone that's at least scoring or assisting consistently at their club to then take that step up.
The challenge you got, and again, I don't want to labour this because we're going to get into these on January in the transfer shows. The challenge you got with all of those players there is what they mean to their current squads.
Exactly.
They are game changers for their current squads. Rafinha is a game changer for Leeds. Sahar is a game changer, although suspended at the moment for a stupid move that he done in that Spurs game. But Sahar is a game changer for Palace. Jarrod Bowen is a game changer for West Ham. We're targeting these teams' best players, yeah, and it's going to cost us a ton of money to lure these players away. So I think that it's going to be very difficult for us to sign any of these players in January.
I agree.
You know,
it's a tough month. Newcastle are going to be, looking at ins, not outs, aren't they?
I think so too. But you think that, again, they don't necessarily need the money to finance their moves. They're now in a position where, and unfortunately for St. Maximin, where he's now not got a way out of that team because if he wants to leave, they're going to be like, well, we don't have to sell you because we don't need the money.
Wait till the summer, mate. See what happens.
Even wait till the summer. It will be a case of, even if they do get relegated, well, no, we don't need to sell you, mate, because we don't need the money.
Unless he's got a clause.
You've got a contract. Yeah, you're right. Unless you've got a clause, you've got a contract. We can still afford to pay your wages.
Yeah.
We need to get out of this division.
Yeah.
You're going nowhere.
Totally agree. I think Rafinha's the one because he looks like he is interested in the move. Leeds seem open to it. Bayern have been really heavily linked with a 50 million move. I think if we match that, I think that's a pretty good deal. I think he's a good player.
Oh, very, very good player. But if you Rafinha is at the point where he's gonna want to play. Yeah.
Yeah.
And true. You say it yourself, you're not necessarily a fan of rotation if players are performing at the highest level. The position that he occupies,
yeah, true,
is currently being occupied by the best player in world football.
Mm-hmm.
Would Rafinha look at that and go, what are my chances of unsettling Mo Salah? Unless what I was saying is that you turn around and go, listen, you're going to get games because Mo's going to start playing a bit of centre forward.
Yeah, true. I completely agree. He does come off of that right-hand side. So, yeah, his minutes would be limited in that specific position. But, for me, I saw a really good tweet by, I think it was it might have been James Pearce. But, yeah, Mane, Salah, Firmino, 18 months left on their contract, all three of them. Big decisions to be made there.
Oh, huge decisions to be made. Huge decisions. And I think we'll get into that more in the Transfer Tuesdays, because ultimately you're looking at it and you're thinking Liverpool must have something up their sleeves, because how are they allowing this to get to this point? Because
absolutely,
I don't think Salah walks out of there.
Yeah, I think it's one of them, isn't it? Because, you look at all the new contracts they were doing, Henderson, Van Dijk, Fabinho, all these big, Alisson, all these big contracts. And Wijnaldum was the one that missed out, so everybody else could get an increase. So Salah ain't going nowhere. So I think for me, it's Mane versus Firmino, as much as that pains me to say, because Jota's come in on a lot less money than they're on and doing bits, let's be fair.
And of the two of them, who would be more inclined? And again, this is no disrespect to either of these players. The question would be, who would be more inclined to stay on reduced terms and back
less increased terms?
Yeah, or less increased terms, and back their ability to still be a figment of that squad and still contribute in that squad.
Yeah,
I know who I'm saying would be that guy. Who are you saying?
For me, I think Mane over Firmino personally, because Jota for me is a better striker than Bobby.
I think in terms of what you're saying, in terms of a literal perspective, is correct. But I think that Mane would back himself to go to another team.
Yeah.
And be the main man. Bobby, on the other hand.
Yeah. It's not quite that profile, is he?
No. His style and the way he plays fits Liverpool. It's Mr. Liverpool. We've built this around him. Yeah. We moved him out of a position from Brendan Rodgers had him playing wide.
Yeah.
to playing as a 10 to now playing as this false 9. You know,
Yeah.
when you think false 9, you think Bobby Firmino.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? He's almost made this position his own. There's no one else in world football that plays false 9 as good as Bobby Firmino. I don't care what anybody says. No one else in world football plays false 9 as Bobby Firmino.
Might be time to end the false 9.
To do what? To do what? How do you?
I prefer us with Jota against any opposition now.
Me personally, I understand. Like, I understand what the false 9 does for your forward players in terms of your inside forwards. It unlocks your inside forwards.
Oh, it does. But then, like you say, if you let Mane go, who's been playing that system for what 5-6 years, who's going to come in on that left wing?
Jota. You put Jota out there because that then allows you to for him to be the terrorist that he is. We associate Mane with that all-out press, that demonizing press where you don't get one that robust, tackle hard, run you down, chase you down, like the press is unreal. Jota does that.
I do agree with you, but we've not really seen Jota and Firmino together very often.
No, we haven't. You're right. We haven't. And that's
it's always Mane and Salah with one or the other.
And that's the unknown. That's the unknown for me. But, you know, Klopp and Pep Lingers are the masters of kind of growing players into a squad. You think about we never let Andy Robertson loose on the squad. We didn't let Tsimikas just loose on the squad. We've not let Konate loose on the squad. Even to a degree, we didn't let Thiago just loose on the squad. And he's a Champions League, quadruple, triple Bundesliga, La Liga, World Championship Cup winner. He's got everything. And even a player like that, we didn't turn around and say, yeah, you go straight in. He was eased in. So could we potentially see Jota be the heir apparent to that Mane position and for Jota to get even better? Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Because the space that would leave him to run into, it would be unreal. You know, Bobby dropping in, creating that space behind for Jota to just go, yeah, I'm going to run at you. And I know you're going to shit yourself. and after that, I'm going to put it past your goalkeeper. And then I'm going to do a shit house celebration in front of your fans. How does that feel? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't wait to get into it the next few Transfer Tuesdays because, you know, like you say, those 3 players that we've mentioned are all going to be turning 30, all going to be turning 31, all going to be turning 32. You can't give them all 5-year deals because that's not what FSG do. So one of them aren't going to be here.
One of them isn't going to be here. And I think that nicely brings us to the bit of the show which I hate, which is the score predictions. But before we do that, in a January transfer window, and this is another rumor that won't stop going away, is Erling Haaland. But we'll leave that to the January transfer shows. We won't get too wrapped up in that because we'll end up on the Mbappe trail like we did for so long.
1 week tomorrow, it all begins.
1 week tomorrow, it all begins. So, score predictions. Go on.
Yes.
Do you want me to go first?
Up to you, buddy.
I'll go first. I think it will be 4-1 to Liverpool.
Very similar to me. I was going to go 3-1. I think they score, whether that's Vardy, whether that's a Maddison 20-yard strike because he's capable of it. Tielemans has been getting the goals this season.
He's also been getting the cards.
True, very true. But I mean, Salah had a poor game against Spurs. I know it wasn't an easy game with the whole 10-men thing and everything else that went on in that game, but Salah will be back with a vengeance. I think he will be turning up for some goals. Jota seems to score every time he plays a game of football. So, yeah, I'll go 3-1.
Yeah, so, right. What we've got coming up next? Our next show will be the full-time show.
Very busy time coming up. So let me just find my little list because I wrote it all down. So we've got Red Sea full-time, like you say, Leicester game reaction. We've got Chelsea FAB 4 coming up, Chelsea full-time. Transfer Tuesday, a week tomorrow. And we've got Arsenal FAB 4 for the Carabao Cup semi-final as well. And then obviously Transfer Tuesday again the week after that. So, yeah, we're on a lot. We've got the 2nd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th. We're having a busy week.
We're having a very busy week. Guys, make sure you're locked in. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to the Red Sea podcast so you can catch everything that we've got coming up. Honestly, the Transfer Tuesday shows, they start here. They are unrivaled. We've got some mega guests lined up for you. We've been sat all day getting people to lock on and sign on to be guests on the Transfer Tuesday show.
Big views, haven't we?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody caught the deadline day show that we did at the back end of the last transfer window, but it was epic. Make sure you are keeping it Red Sea podcast right throughout the month of January, because the Transfer Tuesday shows are going to go off. And I kid you not, we are bringing you the best guests in football YouTube podcast. I am not kidding you. These are the pinnacles of the scene in the YouTube. Shout out to all the guys who've already signed up to be on the Transfer Tuesday shows. And if you're watching this and you are one of those guys that haven't signed up, make sure you get on board, because I'm telling you, it's going to be some serious shows. There's lots to talk about, lots of transfer rumors that we're going to be dissecting with these guys. Make sure you're keeping it locked. Make sure you're keeping it Red Sea podcast.